going on, guys? I came out here to fire up my ATV today, and of course it didn't start. So now we have to figure out why it didn't start. So I brought another battery out, jumper cables, hooked that up. I know the battery's brand new and good. Still, I turned the key ignition on and there's nothing. So let's get to it. Let's troubleshoot this and figure it out. So there's a new battery, jumper cables, two of the hookups. Clearly I have some mice or something trying to build a nest in here. But anyways, traced the wires back, took the panels off. Checked all the fuses. Fuses are good. Nothing to check there. Checked all the connections from the dash. Everything's good there. But still, there's nothing. So, next step is I'm going to take these off, flip this upside down, take a closer look at what's going on, see if there's any power getting to the switch, the ignition switch, and then we'll go from there. To take the dash unit off, you need a 4mm Allen key. And I like using these little magnetic trays so you don't lose any bolts. So there's only two here. I'll take them out. I'll flip the dash over. Another quick check just to make sure starter and all that stuff's all good. Just go across the relay. So clearly that's all working. It's just there's no power getting here. So we got to figure that out. Now that the dash is disconnected upside down, I just unplugged that just for the hell of it to check the connections, make sure there's no dirt and water or whatever in there. So now there's our ignition switch. We'll go back and unplug this and we'll probe for power to ground. Seems like the problem's the ignition switch from what I could see, because I can't get continuity from one lead to the other. So I'm gonna take the ignition switch apart and we'll have a look at that. Now the switch is apart, all this looks good to go because there's nothing really that can go bad there. Sorry about the traffic noise. Once again, key, magnetic tray, keep all your screws, nuts and bolts all secure. Have the switch taken apart, the ignition switch. There's our three selections. So that's the white wire, that's the red, and that one there's the orange. I tested continuity with the voltmeter from this terminal here to the plug end, and everything checked out. There was a whole bunch of grease on there, so I wiped that off and I cleaned these terminals up a little bit. So now looking at this, the red and the orange are ignition on. The red, orange, and the white is with the lights on. So if I can jump the red and the orange, which is these two here, two last ones, because you can see here, this is how it goes in. That's how it goes in. So if I jump red and orange, that would be ignition key on, and we should have a lit up dash. So let's see what happens. So I've got the red and the orange jumped here, and we still don't have any display coming up. So there's something going on. I checked all the fuses look good. So I'm not too sure, and that switch looks good. So as long as, I'm gonna recheck it and see if we have continuity when I put it back together. Maybe wiping that grease off maybe helped. It's probably dielectric grease, so it probably didn't make any difference. But let's put it back together and see what happens. I have the key in the on position. I'm jumping across orange and red, and we have continuity there. So the switch is working. If I switch it off, it breaks the circuit. And I haven't tested the lights one yet, but as long as this one works, we should be fine. And still nothing's working. So switch is out of the equation now. Let's move on to something else. We have battery voltage at the 12 volt DC outlet here. Just testing that to make sure that's not the problem. There's no voltage getting there, but there's definitely battery voltage here. Well, kind of weird. I just figured for the shits and giggles, basically, let's just change the starter solenoid, and guess what? It's working. There we have it. What was that? Starter relay. For some reason, I have no idea why, but that's what it was. Back in action. So I guess I went a little too hardcore when I started digging around in here, figuring that because I had power here, that the problem was in here, when really it was just a bad starter solenoid acting up. So kind of a quick reminder just to stick to the basics and try not to overthink stuff, because usually it's the easy solution. Rarely does it go like that bad that the wiring, like it's been sitting for a month, so the battery was dead, took a new battery, that's it, it's running now.
Never go full retard.